Other online platforms for student interest clubs. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Place your questions on the comment box allotted during the session and they will be addressed by our speaker later on. Share the video using hashtag learnAsOnePH as our official hashtag to our VIBAL webinars. Experience learning, Kavibal? And now, to proceed with our webinar this afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker today. He is a consultant and evaluator for K-12 Philippine Basic Education, the curriculum and academic consultant of Sisters of Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Brother Roderick M. Aguirre.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again for a week-long learning about, this time it's more of co-curricular programs for our students. In the past few months, in the past few weeks, we've been talking about how we can provide our students with the curricular support while they're learning at home via online platforms and via modular approach and all other activities that we can think of to uh, support and scaffold the learning of our students at home via the support and involvement of the parents and the primary caregivers But this time around, we're going to talk about other sport programs of the school to the students' total and holistic development. And I think what's happening right now in the Philippines is that we're all teachers and all schools and educators from that for that matter are all focused and giving all their attention and effort on providing our students with the necessary materials that will be the modules for distance individualized modular instruction and materials for online learning. But I think there's also one part of the learning process of our students that we need to take care of in order to help them become more holistic in their development while they are learning at home. And that would be the co-curricular activities. And it's kind of known to us as student interest club and student organizations. And I think this is one of the things that we need to prepare for as well, not just the academic and curricular programs for our students. I know that we are already so stressed and full of responsibilities and tasks in order to meet the requirements of being able to deliver our learning materials to our students. But it is one of our responsibilities as a school to provide our students with an outlet for them to be able to hone all other skills that are not just academic, but also their interests and their skills. And that being said, that will be our topic for this afternoon. And let me share to you my PowerPoint presentation. Here we go. Okay, okay. And I would like to apologize for in advance. I'm experiencing a mild sore throat right now, and I think I'm having difficulty talking and speaking. Yes, I'm at this state of being right now. I do am having difficulty talking, and there's a possibility that that's why I'm trying to slow down so that my throat won't that be exhausted, because my task for the past week was from Monday to Sunday. So I've been talking from Monday to Sunday in different institutions. Oh well, so that should not stop us from having a conversation. And again, friends out there, let's just think of this as an informal way of conversing with each other, and let's learn some things about this. And this is not necessarily a primary responsibility for schools right now. It is a secondary responsibility, and I'm hoping that as we go through the school year, this school year during the pandemic, is that we will be able to at least be able to help our students hone other skills aside from just the curricular skills. And that's why my subtitle for this afternoon session is striking a balance between schooling and education. And this afternoon, we're going to distinguish and understand what is the difference between schooling and education. Because when we say curricular, we're talking about schooling, and we're talking about when we talk about co-curricular programs of our students, we're talking about striking a balance between schooling and education. All right. And let me share to you our outline for this afternoon. So we will have again as my regular flow for September, and by October you will please expect a new way of delivering my topics to you guys. Not necessarily a new way, but such an improvement for my presentation. It will be more interactive as we go along. Of course, for the September, I added identification and busting myths. But this time, it focused on student organizations and student clubs and interest clubs. And then after that, I'm going to present to you some statements and research from experts about the difference between schooling and education. And then we proceed to our discussion on the importance of co-curricular activities or co-curricular programs to the total development of our students at school, and how we can do that via online or distance education. And then I will entertain questions afterwards. So if you have questions along the way, do not hesitate to key in your questions on the comments box below. And do not also hesitate to give your clarifications. And be please do not hesitate to say thank you very much, or for commending on things that you have takeaways on our session for this afternoon. So we do appreciate your comments, and so that these comments will also our basis for providing and do research on how we can help you with other topics that we can provide you in the future. So do not hesitate to key in your comments in the comments box below. And definitely afterwards, I'll be as usual. I will tie loose ends and then I'll post some challenges for all of us as teachers and caregivers and parents and school administrators on the topic on co-curricular programs and its importance to the total development of our students. So let's begin. So now I tried to identify three myths that most teachers and parents alike have about student organizations and student interests and basically education and schooling in general. And so these are the top three most common statements and common belief system of educators and parents and people in the community have about education. Let's begin with the first statement. A lot of people would say that teachers are the most important influence on the learner's education, and that no one can take away the importance of the presence of the teacher to the total education of our students. This is a myth. In fact, I believe that we would know that our students have been educated if they do not need our teachers anymore. I believe that our teachers is one of the, but it's not a primary influence of our students' education, but they are scaffold and support students' education. And as much as possible, we don't want our teachers to influence teachers' opinion and how they live their life influence on the education of our students. They are there as one of the many influences to our students' education. There are many influences. We have social media. We have the other institutions like the politics, the government, the parents primarily, and all other factors that contribute to the total education of our students. And that therefore, we should not believe that the education of our students only happens inside the classroom or only happens with the presence of the teacher or in school. A lot of education, a lot of learnings of our students, even us individuals, happen outside the four walls of our classroom and the premises of our school. Education happens as a lifelong process. Even if we graduated from school, we still keep on educating ourselves. It's a constant process. Therefore, education should not be considered as a tandem between the teacher and the student. If we believe in that, then we can say that education has a starting point and has an end point. We don't want our students to think that education stops when they're done with their schooling. We don't want them to think about that. And what's happening right now with the pandemic, we are now gradually introducing the idea to our students that they can be educated even with minimal teacher supervision. And that's one good thing about pandemic. What's happening, I don't want to condone what's happening in the world right now, but I think we should see the silver lining. Hey, that's Catriona great statement, but I like that. I would like us to see the silver lining or the positive side of our situation right now, that because of this pandemic, we are now forced to make preparations of the teaching and learning process where the teacher is detached from the students and there's a minimal teacher supervision, and we are now giving much of those responsibilities to our students and to the parents, when originally it should have been that the main focus of the main responsibility, the main task of the learning process and the education process should be within the situation. We should be oh come on, my mouth is whew, it hurts. Should be within the situation and the responsibility of the learners themselves, and of course the primary caregivers and their parents at home. On that note, if our students get to realize that within this school year, or if it's extended up to the next school year, they get to realize that I can learn on my own and that the teachers are there to help me, guide me to be able to realize what I'm supposed to acquire and acquire in terms of knowledge, skills, values, and ethics for me to become a contributing member of society. Ha! I said a lot, and that's only statement number one. Therefore, statement number one, ladies and gentlemen, let's say all together is busted. So we do not want To accept this totally, the teachers are the most important influence on what's the word again? On a learner's education. Mm-mm. All right, let's have statement number two. Statement number two says, wait, I busted it without an explanation at all. A successful program works everywhere. There is what's happening right now with one school to another is that one school would be able to see that the other schools are doing some programs and it works well for students, and what they do is they do copy the program to their schools, making them copycats. I'm not saying it's wrong to get best practices from other schools in terms of programs that are successful and helping students become independent learners and have high academic achievement, but we need to realize the question that are the students in that school have the same characteristics as the students as our students characteristics in my school. If we can say that's totally 100% yes, then we can say that the program that was successful in that school can also be successful in our school. But if we cannot say 100%, let's say 80% or lower than 80%, say that the characteristics of the students of that school with that successful program are not the same as the characteristics of my students in my school, then that won't be successful. What I can do is look at that program, make certain modifications based on the needs of my learners, that will work. Therefore, the statement a successful program works ever. It doesn't work everywhere. It works where the profile of the students have been considered. Therefore, like the programs that we do at Sisters of Mary will definitely not work in the other situations because of some considerations. Like example, in our school, the Sisters of Mary, all our students are staying in. They have a they have the same schedule to follow from Monday to Sunday. They have the same nutrition period, and then all other programs are given to all students and not just one. Now, to all other schools, it cannot be and may not be successful because of the mere fact that the students are going home, and the factors like parents may be influencing on the decisions of the students. And like right now with the pandemic, there's a possibility that the lack of the access to technology may be one of those barriers to the success of these programs. Therefore, what we can do is we can benchmark some programs from other schools, and then what we do is modify them and make some modifications and changes to suit the needs of our learners. Okay, therefore, statement number two is busted. This is, I know you people out there are wondering, is he really having throat problems? But he's still talkative. I really don't know. No matter how I feel, like I haven't had a good sleep for the past 2 days because of lots of work. But I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. And right now I'm experiencing sore throat, a mild sore throat though, and I already took medication so that it would not, progress into something that I don't want it to progress into. Uh, this is what I call in theater arts as the show must go on. And as a teacher, even if whatever we're feeling, we put it aside and then do our responsibility. That's what's happening right now. I'm still talkative. I was born talkative, and I think I'm gonna die being talkative. But I love talking to you guys out there, and I hope that you have comments later on so that this will be the basis for us to understand each other. And the last segment, stop talking, Aguirre. I'm talking to myself. Let's finish introduction. Statement number three says zero tolerance policies are making schools safer. Like no violence will be acceptable and so on and so forth. Lots of research, not just in the United States, but in Europe and Australia and Canada, of schools have implemented zero tolerance policies, not just in their classrooms, but in all school programs, be it curricular or curricular, that if students have violated some of the school's no violence, zero tolerance policy on violence, some students are expelled and probably given some, detention time. The results of the research showed that it does not have a lasting effect on students. In fact, it's not positive. There's not one positive effect on the student. It does not change the behavior of students. In fact, some of the students are happy that they get out of the classroom because they are so bored of the classroom. That's why most of them are resorting to this violation of school rules so that they can just get away of the things that they don't like to do at school. I think what's important here, instead of having zero tolerance policies, is a good guidance counseling program for our students. A lot of our teachers are focused on helping our students with their academic skills acquisition, but all other aspects like socialization skills, collaborative skills, self-identity development, may not be taken care of by the classroom teachers. And I suppose through the curricular programs, that would be our student interest and our student organizations, we will be able to take care of those other extra energy that our students have and be able to meet their needs, not just academic needs, but also all other needs that help our students become a total person. And I believe that at school with a good guidance counseling program do support the needs of our students and also support the needs of the teachers. And therefore, statement number 3, zero tolerance policy and making school safer, is busted. No, it is a good student counseling program that makes a school more safer, more safe or safer up to our students. Okay, let's now have a published article about the difference between schooling and education. A lot of people, teachers alike, just do not know the difference between schooling and education. And I would like us to know now, what are we doing? Are we schooling our students or are educating our students? The K-12 program, the K to 12 program, my gosh, my tongue and my throat really hurts. Tingnan natin kung mas okay siguro kung Tagalog, mas mahirap, bumabaloktot ng dila. The K-12 program wants us to educate our students to become holistic developed with the 21st century, holistic developed individuals with the 21st century skills. With the word holistic, there's the idea of schooling and education that we would like our students to experience, that would be education, and be able to acquire the necessary knowledge and skills, that would be schooling. So this is what we would like to understand right now. That's why we have this whole week about the importance of student organizations and student interest clubs in as a support program, a school support program to students development, so that there would be support not just the students but the teachers, where students can find an avenue for them to actualize the things that they're learning from the curricular programs that will be the subject areas. So let me share this to you. Voila. I have my friends here, my colleagues here would like to explain to us the difference between schooling, and I would like to call my colleague Edward and Elena. So Edward will explain to us what schooling is, and Elena will tell us what education is all about. So let's look at one aspect of schooling. Schooling is about, Edward says that schooling is all about meeting the standards and expected learning outcomes set in the curriculum. Therefore, what classroom teachers are doing, what we are doing right now, preparing materials based on the MEC's mix and the K-12 curriculum guide, is definitely schooling. Why? Because we want our students to use this material so that they will meet the standards and expected learning outcomes set by the curriculum, and we cannot get away from it. Is schooling good? Yes, schooling is good. But Elena says, but education should be integrated in schooling because it is about inspiring the mind, not filling the head. So what we can do now is, if you want to strike a balance, according to this article, if you want to strike a balance between schooling and education so that students will not get bored by just schooling, and they get to realize the importance of schooling because they get to be educated, that the things that they learn from the curriculum are the things that they need for real life tasks and responsibilities. So what we can do, according to Elena and according to my colleague Edward and Elena, said to strike a balance within schooling and education is that, yes, let's use the standards and learning outcomes from the curriculum, but the examples and the outcomes and the tasks that we are going to provide to our students and require them to do should be real life tasks to inspire their mind. So, there you go. So, wag lang hypothetical daw. So, kung magagawa po tayo ng mga tasks, dapat po kayong natugagagawa sa tuong buhay at maliling po nila sa kanilang mga interest. Okay? Next, Edward says that schooling is graduating, meaning may natatapos. So may mga key stages. K to 12, it's graduating. So we have stages. We have 3 stages. That's K to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 12. Yeah, at the senior high school. All right. So it's graduating. And then once we're done with the curriculum, then we have been schooled. Done. But Elena says that education never truly stops. Our learning from situations, learning from our mistakes and our errors is continuous in life. It does not end. And no matter how old we get, education continues because learning happens through education and through experiences, right? Through our mistakes and our errors. Therefore, if we can do that, yes, let us school our students, let them pass and finish the key stages, but let them also acquire the skills so that they will learn from their mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes. It's because these mistakes and errors are avenues for learning. Yung po dapat ang matutunan natin na wait, sir, pag bumagsak ako sa klase, bumagsak ako sa test, anong ibig sabihin nan? So, hindi daw pwede na sa schooling, pass or fail lang. No. Let's integrate education. If you pass, what do you do? Why did you fail? All right. If you did not fail, are there other avenues at school for you to hold or other skills? Opo, may clubs and interests po tayo na pwede po makatulong sa total development ng bata. Okay? Next, Edward says it is planned and organized in order for learners to acquire essential knowledge and skills needed to be functional and contributing members of society. Ibig sabihin po nun, in schooling, teachers and educators, kind of the same though. So let's just use the word educators in general. Educators sequence the teaching of the knowledge and skills from the most easy and most basic, progressing on to the most complex knowledge and skills, building on top of all of this basic foundation, and then realizing that once the foundation have been successfully acquired, students now can move on to critical and then move on to creative skills. That it would be schooling. Now, according to one of the experts who promote education, lifelong education, said that would be John Dewey. He's a good friend of mine, but we did not have the pleasure of meeting because he died a long time before I was born. Okay. He said, education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. Okay. If we want our students to learn, to realize that what they are learning right now is the things that they are the things that they need to have in order to function in society. So dapat daw lahat ng tinuturo natin sa school dapat merong immediate na application. The interest clubs and the student organizations allow our students to be able to, in a contrived environment, be able to apply these things and apply all of that they have learned from the curricular programs to the curricular programs. All right? So hindi pwede po ang school na puro lang curricular programs. Okay? So ang mga bata siguro becomes linguistically and cognitively advanced, but I think they lack on the two domains, the social-emotional domain and the physical domain. Paano naman ang sports, paano naman ang health, well-being, and so on, and all other things that they need to acquire. So on this note po, I would like to contextualize our discussion on the the ultimate goal of the K-12 curriculum, which is holistic, develop Filipino with the 21st century skills, with the word holistic. So the idea of holism is that students get see the meaning and the importance of what they're learning in school to their real life. So that's why I said striking a balance between schooling and education. So students' curriculum, acquisition of the skills as prescribed by the curriculum, education means their experiences where they are able to apply all of the experience. And this is curricular and this is co-curricular. Okay. Now, I would like us to also contextualize our discussion with the statement of Darrow Miller that he mentioned 2013. Darrow Miller said, education is a lifelong process. In fact, education doesn't happen only in the classroom, a structured period of time, or formal instruction. Actually, education takes place anytime, anywhere in the middle of a full life. Okay? Wait. Balikan po natin. Full life in formal and informal ways. It takes place in the midst of creation, society, culture, and work. Education has to do with the cultural trinity, truth, beauty, and goodness. Di ko lang muna experience ko. Siyempre, experience ko lang naman. Hindi ko naman kayo matatanong kung anong experience niyo. When I was in elementary, I was a member of the theater group. So kung may kung linggo ng wika, mga ganyan, kami ang theater group namin, kailangan mag-show, and so on and so forth. And then, since I am from Divine Word University, we are required to be a member of, to be lectern, like mga tagabasa ng mga, tagabasa sa church. We have every Wednesday na may mass kami sa umaga. So we all students in the elementary take turns to be assigned to read a reading from the Bible. And to be sa mga may assignment doon. And another one would be choir. So all of these organizations, yung choir, yung theater, were all required by our school. And all other skills po ay in-expose kami. I think those, mahihain kasi ako ng bata. Hindi lang halata. Well, I believe that when I was a kid, I was a shy type of a child, but because of this organization interest clubs in our school made me more confident of what I can do. I may not have been really academically good, but because of other skills, I became I developed my self-confidence and be able to converse with other people. All right. And then when I entered high school at Leyte National High School of Research and Development, or R&D, I became a member of, first year, I became a member of the choir still. I wanted to be a member of the choir. And over and above the choir of the school, I was a member of a choir in our church. And so dala-dalawa yun. And then I was a member of the theater group. And then I was a member of the cultural dance group in our community. So ang ginawa kasi ng school namin, kung ano ang interest club mo sa school, dapat meron kang kaakibat niyan sa komunidad. That was our time. I don't know kung ginagawa pa yan ngayon. So requirement yun. So meron kaming pinapasulatan kung anong activity namin sa advisory namin sa mga clubs para makita na kung ano natutunan namin sa mga workshops namin sa mga clubs namin na papasok namin doon sa aming mga sinasalihang choir. So natutunan ko and so on and so forth. Theater group. I was into sports. I was in a track and field group in high school, a club. Then naging officiating, naging team captain po ako. Tapos naging officiating student officer pa ako ng high school. Tapos pumasok ako sa, may mga ano yun, sinalihan ko pa nun. COMELEC. Hindi ako sumali sa student government pala. Sumali ako sa COMELEC because I don't want to be an office. I don't want to be as part of the student government, but I would like to be part of those who regulate those who will be elected. So kasama ko doon and so happened that I topped the test. Well, the point is that looking back now, mas marami akong experience in having friends outside my classroom friends. Dahil niniwala, ang mga classmates ko noon, hindi ko naman friends. They were just my classmates. At yung tingin ko noon, kasi siyempre, mga cheating sila pag magaling si Aguirre o si Aguirre dapat ang tinatabihan natin and so on and so forth. Pero outside the classroom, I had various experiences dealing with upper grade level members. Kasi nakakasalamuhan namin ang mga fourth year, ang mga third year, first year pa lang ako noon, third year. Tapos nagbo-boost ang confidence, and then we had community outreach programs, feeding programs, medical programs in the nearby communities. Kaya natutulungan naengganyo kami to be able to be functional members of society while learning. My concern during that time was that why were this program, kayo lang po ha, kaya yung pong advocacy ko ngayon, why were this program only available for people who are excelling? Nakuha niyo ba ako doon? Yung mga bata na hindi nag-excel, hindi pwedeng sumali. Yun ang nakalagay sa guidelines namin noon. Yung hindi nag-excel sa academic, hindi pwedeng kumuha ng curricular kasi maano yung klase. Hindi nila alam na there's a possibility na by allowing students to be part of sports, natutulungan sila, nagkakaroon ng outlet ng kanilang more energy or extra energy. My point here is that if our students have an access to a balanced program at school, curricular and co-curricular, hindi lang po kami na estudyante na sa tingin ng mga teachers, sa tingin ng mga na kami ang kaya namin mag-balance out. I know, may mga bata hindi kaya mag-balance out, pero kaya nga nandun yung advisor. That's why the members of the clubs and the members of the interest clubs would be there to support each other. Ang kagandahan kasi nun is that ang mga miyembro po namin ay responsibilidad namin na alagaan namin. So meron kami study time. So bawat clubs namin, nagkakaroon kami ng study time so to support each other kasi rule nun is, mababawasan ka ng club membership kung bumaba ang grado mo. I don't know if we can do that right now. I don't know the guidelines in the Department of Education, but I was in the private school, elementary and high school. I was in more of a laboratory school sections at the time. So di ko alam kung pareho pa rin sa ngayon ang mga programa rin. But my point here is that we need to provide our students with a balanced program for our students. And research shows that education should be, the idea of education should be introduced to our students and not just schooling. Baka mabuwar ang bata na puro lang studies, puro lang mga curricular ang kanilang magawa, and then they will not be able to see the connection of what they are acquiring from the curricular programs to real life situations. Just a fear. I fear that. Wala pala tayo sa discussion, dami ko nang sinabi, no, dal ko talaga, may sakit ako niyan. All right, so let's have question number 1. Question, just 8 of 30 minutes, okay? Discussion po tayo. Question number 1, what are students' interest clubs and organizations? Okay, so our student interest clubs should primarily, that's why they are called co-curricular activities or co-curricular student support programs, because they are there to support primarily the curricular learnings. Okay? So, kunwari, meron tayong language and literature, math and sciences, social sciences, technical vocational educational curricular programs, dapat daw meron din tayong support on that. Halimbawa, kung meron tayong language and literature, say English and literature, meron tayong pwede tayong magkaroon ng school paper organization, student paper organization, or pwede tayong magkaroon ng academic club like nung panahon namin, ang panahon ko talaga, ang tawag namin ay Book Readers Club. The Book Readers Club. Pag naka-member ka ng high school ako, pag sinabing Book Readers Club, ako ang katalino ng mga tao niyan kasi mahilig magbasa. Well, it just so happened na I wanted to be on the book. Hindi naman talaga ako nung katalinuhan. It just so happened na I wanted to be part of the Book Readers Club because I wanted to have access to books. Yun lang naman po yun. Yun lang naman ang gusto ko nung kasi nga may mga access ang mga miyembro sa Book Readers Club, may mga access to novels na hindi accessible to all students. Yung sinasabi ko, bakit kaya sa mga chosen students lang yung mga ganun? Dapat yung mga reading na yan dapat for all kasi nga lahat ng mga bata dapat may reading. Kaya nga, yun ang question ko nga ngayon. Are the clubs are just for students who are excelling on those? Or paano naman po yung mga hindi nag-excel na kailangan pa rin nila yon? Okay? So co-curricular activities could be academic clubs. We have sports clubs. So we have the choir and we have the chess and all other co-curricular learning programs. But the idea there is that the co-curricular learnings or learning programs or support programs for our students are primarily there to support and mirror what's happening and what students are learning from the curricular program. So that's the idea of student support programs through student interest clubs and so on and so forth. So dapat kung magkakaroon po kayo na mag-create po kayo ng student interest clubs and organization, it must be linked to the curricular programs of your students. Halimbawa, may technical vocational kayo tapos nag-offer kayo ng bread and pastry, siguro meron din kayong siguro catering services or bread and pastry cafe, and so on and so forth. Nung panahon namin, kung meron kaming technical vocational kami noon sa Leyte National High School, so kami ng second year, so meron kaming cooking for one quarter. So meron kaming time na tinuturoan kami mag-bake, tapos may time kami na nandun kami sa school canteen kung saan kami doon nagbe-bake na actually at pinibenta namin yung baking. What I like about that practice is that may time kaming matuto at may time kaming i-practice agad at nakikita namin na meron kaming kikitain nun. The point was, yun lang ulit ang question ko nun. Why only for chosen few? Kung nabigay yun sa ibang estudyante natin, especially for those who are poor, at naturuan mag-bake, tapos magbenta, may entrepreneurial skills, baka kung hindi sila nakapag-college, meron silang entrepreneurial skills at saka technical vocational skills for them to be able to start their own small business or baking business. Yung mga ganun ba sana? I don't know. I just felt like I was one of those privileged few to have access to the programs in both curricular and co-curricular programs in our school and elementary and high school, because one way or the other, I was choosing to be, quote unquote, a student who is able to excel in some ways in the curricular programs. My advocacy right now is that it should be accessible. Our co-curricular learning should be accessible to all our students. Sensya po. Biglang nagsiga yung kapitbahay namin nagsiga at usok pumapasok dito sa kwarto. Mga estudyante ata. Sorry. To summarize our question, to our answer to question number 1 is, community participation in school sets the stage for a lifetime of learning, socializing, and collaborating, reaching out to other communities, that will be other schools and institutions in society, and build connections that bridge barriers for societal development. So doon pa lang sa school, nakikita agad ng mga bata ang application kanilang natutunan sa mga curricular programs, and then therefore, they are now able to concretize what they are learning, and they get to realize na ito pala bakit kailangan matutunan at ito pa lang yung actual application. Hindi yan po kagaya ng dati na let us learn now and find out and use that later on. Our students want to know right now why they need to learn all of this knowledge and skills. They need to see immediately the application. Okay? So sana, i-match po natin sa co-curricular activities. Especially na ang mga bata ngayon po ay hindi nasa school. Okay? Second question. Sorry. Okay. Alright. Sige, mamaya. Ayokong tumayo para kumuha ng tubig. I should have, put water beside me. Anyway, question number 2. Why is it important for learners to join students' interest clubs and organizations? What are its benefits to our students over and above the other skills that they will be able to acquire from joining student interest clubs and organizations? Okay, so I would like us to go back to the framework and the framework that I designed for student profiling. That my belief, a student who is holistically developed should be able to meet all of the four domains, the major domains that make up the person, that make up a holistic individual. One would be one would be their cognitive development, and that would be, of course, our students' ability to remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, grade. And I do believe that these cognitive developmental skills are taught in all our subject areas, but I believe that all of this can also be realized in the student interest clubs and organizations through like making project proposals. Naalala ko noon na kami po ay tinuruan na maggawa ng project proposals, budgeting, and maggawa ng marketing, tapos promotion, timelining, scheduling, tapos scenario building of the programs, tapos kami ay nagmamanage ng mga programs. So the idea there is that via cognitive development, if we are given extra activity, at school, especially in the student organization programs, mas namamaster pa namin ang mental skills namin. All right. Next would be language development via student organizations as well. Not just in the academic area, tinuturo sa atin ang listening, viewing, speaking, reading, writing, but the actual application can be in the student organizations too. Okay, medyo limited kasi experiences na maibibigay ng ating teachers sa classroom. Reason being is that it's within the curricular programs. Dapat masusunod yung nakalagay sa curriculum. Unlike in the student organizations, there are some factors that students cannot control. Sa classroom kasi makukontrol yung mga factors na yun, mga variables niya. Pero sa mga student organizations, may mga factors na hindi lang makukontrol, especially the level of communication skills of their members, not just the communication level, but also the personality level perhaps. So they need to adjust their language skills to certain members of their organization. Next would be physical development by asking our students to at least join one sports club. Yung panahon kasi namin, sorry ulit pasensya kasi panahon namin, meron kang academic club na sasalihan at meron kang sports club. Pero only for, yun nga ulit, sa R&D, sa mga chosen students na nag-excel. Pag nag-excel ka, ang requirement sa amin ay meron kaming academic clubs, interest clubs, and then we have sports. So napunta ko sa athletics kasi naman ang gusto ko talaga. I was into sports and into track and field. Pero yung iba, hindi. Pag may mga classmates ako na, meron kasi akong mga kaibigan, mga kabarkada sa barangay namin noon at saka sa town namin na mga magagaling tumakbo, mabilis pa tumakbo kasi sa akin, kaya lang hindi sila makapasok sa programang yun dahil nga mahina sa academics. So, hindi pinayagan. Okay. Kung nabigyan lang sana ng chance po yun, at may mga kasama sila kagaya namin na may study habits, nasasama namin. Kasi sa aming sports kasi noon, ang aming coach noon, meron kaming study time. So, study time bago kami muna mag-warm up and so on and so forth. Anyway, sana kung nakasali sila, no? Siguro nagkaroon sila ng study habit kasi kasama po yun sa aming sports program na hindi ka pwedeng sumali sa mga competition kung bumaba ang grado mo or hindi manalagaan ang grado mo. Okay, so ano namin yun? Parang kami mga members ng mga clubs nun, we would like to excel in the clubs, but at the same time we would like to take care of our grade. Tapos ang aming mga offices, kasi may office kami sa book readers club, sa athletics, may mga office kami. So pwede kaming pagkatapos ng klase namin, meron kaming break, doon kami nagtatambay, nagbabasa, nakagawa ng assignment, tapos kung nagawa ng assignment, nakaka-edit kami. So sana lahat ng estudyante may ganun, no? Hindi lang yung mga feeling nila na kagaya namin na nag-excel. Hindi man ako nag-excel noon, lang talaga ako. Manggagamit lang talaga ako doon. Gaya-gaya lang talaga ako kasi pag may mga classmate ako na nag-excel, inggitero, yun. Inggitero ako noon. Ayoko nung naiwanan ako ng mga classmates ko, hindi pwedeng may nasasapawan ako. Pag gumaling siya, dapat ako din. Tatlong kanyang clubs, ako din, dapat marami. Kaya lang, syempre, may mga limitations. Anyway, just saying, sana lahat. Anong cliche ngayon ng mga kabataan? Sana all. Oo, yun. Sana all. Oo, sana all. Also in the social emotional development, meron kaming requirement hanggang college po ito na na-experience ko na we're supposed to be a member. Kami po ay ecumenical po. If you're a member of a Christian faith, merong organization sa school noon, high school, college namin noon, merong organization. Kami kasi ay ako Roman Catholic. So, nasama ako sa choir. Okay? Hindi po ako magaling kumanta ha. It just so happened nga, gitero nga ako. Gitero ako sa kapatid ko na mayroon siyang nakasali siya sa natutong maggitara. So, inainggit ako, inaral ko maggitara. So, marunong silang kumanta. Ay, inggit ako, inaral ko paano kumanta. So, the point there is that I wanted the drive, the inspiration for me to be able to be like others and be able to be part of that group was a driving force for me. And I believe that that's also the driving force of most of our students, only that they are shy, their self-esteem is low, so that's why they believe that they cannot be part of that group. Kung bigyan lang po sana natin ang chance sa mga bata na to na makapasok, kasi nung sintunado ako pumapasok, tapos sabi ng mga teacher, sabi ng choir advisor namin, sige kasi ang lakas ng loob mo, kahit sintunado ka, may facial expression mo pa, ang kamay mo, gumagano'n-ganon pa. Nararamdaman namin ang kahulugan ng kanta, pero distracting ang kasintunaduhan mo. Pero sige, tuturuan ka namin kumanta. Oh, diba? Sabi, tas hindi ko tinatantanan ng choir advisor namin noon. Talagang araw-araw nagnanak-nak. Sabi ko, kailan po practice natin? Kahit hindi ako kasali sa listahan ng nilabas niya na nakapasa. Sana, hindi, katok talaga ako. Hanggang sa college yan pong ugali ko na pag ginusto ko, kailangan makapasok ko doon. Pag nakapasok ko, I will excel on that. I think that was how my mother brought me up, that if you want something, even if you don't deserve it, try your best in the process to deserve it. Diba? Ang ganda. Alright? At sana ganyan, sana lahat ng estudyante natin. At ipakita natin na walang limitasyon ang possibilities. Even your personal individual limitations should not be seen as limitations. Just go out and be part of that group. And eventually, if you immerse yourself in that interest club, you will gain what you're supposed to gain. And you will deserve, because in the process, because of your motivation and your interest to be, kaya nga tinawag student interest. May interest ang bata. Kahit wala siya nun, magkakaroon siya because of that motivation and that interest. Asa po ako doon. Hindi rin ako magaling mag-English. Sumali ako sa sa aming debate group para lang gumaling mag-English. Okay. And then we have literacy and numeracy skills. I was not really good with mathematics at that time. So, hindi ako qualified na makasali sa math club. So, ginawa ko, kinaibigan ko yung mga membro ng math club at sila po yung tumutulong sa mga assignments ko. Para-paraan. Tawagan nila, sana all. Yung nga sabi ko, ako na nga mahina sa math, ang hindi pwedeng sumali sa math club. Ano ba ginagawa sa math club para sa mga galing lang? Paano yung mga hihina na dapat binibigyan ng programa ng school para, di ba? Alright, next, health and well-being. I was part of that. But I think sports activities should be, tapos yung Zumba, especially ngayon mga bata mahilig mag-Zumba, pwedeng i-online yan. So merong schedule sana ng Zumba, stretching para sa mga estudyante as part of their health and well-being program supported by the school. Next, we have relational skills, spirituality. I would like also to support also the spirituality of our students. Do we have support to our students in helping them be introduced to the faith? It doesn't have to be Roman Catholic, it doesn't have to be Christian, but for their identified faith. Sana may mga programa tayo like Friday, mayroong service para sa mga ganitong religious denominations, Saturday, Sunday, at hindi lang po Roman Catholic. Especially po sa ating nakalagay sa ating constitution that schools, especially the public schools, should be non-sectarian or it should support all faith in the society. Okay? So ito po ang sinasabi natin na holistic development. And therefore, hindi ito makukuha lang sa curricular programs. They can be holistically be developed in both curricular and co-curricular. Hindi pwede naman po ang bata ay puro co-curricular. Remember that our definition of co-curricular or student organization and student clubs are there to support an immediate mirroring of what our students have been learning or are learning in the curricular programs. Okay? So these are the benefits. So student interest clubs and organization allow students to one, build set skills. Now, in the academic program or the curricular program, we teach our students skills in particular academic program like math skills, science skills, language skills, technical vocational skills. Pero pagdating sa mga clubs po, napagsasama-sama yan kasi ang mga trabaho ng mga clubs ay pinagsasama ang math, science skills, lahat ng skills na tungkol sa subject area na nagagamit nila, na-actualize sila sa kanilang mga clubs, especially for their activities. That's why it's called build skill set. Na pagsasama-sama niya, pwede ko palang na nagkakaroon ng integration of those skills that he or she learned from the subject areas. Next, demonstrate time management dahil nga kailangan niyang magkaroon ng time for studies, time for the academic programs and curricular programs. So, bibigyan din mag-iisip siya paano ko i-manage yung time ko for co-curricular programs. Mas madali nga ang oras ngayon sa mga bata na magkaroon ng balance ng curricular at curricular programs dahil nabawasan na yung time ng travel time. Diba? So if we could, integrate at least once a week or twice a week na meron silang 30 to 45 minutes time for co-curricular programs. Next, develop collaboration skills because they're interacting with other students in the different grade levels with different ages and different religious denominations, also with different personalities. Our students are able to adjust to other people and therefore able to collaborate with them. All right. The idea there is for them to be able to adjust. Okay. Socialization, of course. Next, we have create new network of friends and opportunities. Ako po ay, sabi ko nga sa inyo, hindi ko makakabarkada yung mga classmates ko noon sa elementary and high school. Most of my so-called friends noon were my friends in the clubs, not just in the school, but mas naging close ko yung mga ka-club mates ko, choir mates ko, sports mates ko, outside the school. Kasi doon ko nakita yung, that's where I was able to relate myself to. Next, build self-confidence. Kitang-kita naman siguro. And then, makikita mo sa tao na educated siya because of the self-confidence. Maraming estudyante po ang schooled but not educated. They graduated, schooled, but they lack experiences. Ito yung mga estudyante na nag-top sa klase dahil magaling sa test and so on and so forth, pero mahiyain, hindi marunong mag-socialize, hindi makapagsalita. Unlike mga estudyante na dahil nga hindi nag-excel nga sa academics pero mayroong mga sports program, meron siyang mga clubs, nagiging confident po siya. So, mas madali po siyang maging successful in life. Okay? Finally, have well-rounded experiences. So, mas marami kasing uncontrolled experiences in the student programs, student support programs. Okay, so these are the benefits. Okay. So it also, the interest clubs and organizations also allow the development of social-emotional learnings or social-emotional skills. So ito po yung dinidiscuss po namin sa mga schools po sana hindi lang academic at cognitive ang dinidevelop sa bata, but also the social-emotional development, and because it is a key element in lifelong learning for our students. So just to go through about it, okay, sa clubs kasi bibigyan natin mga bata ng mga task performances. And then by doing that, while they have to do it, they develop the following values: achievement, motivation, responsibility, self-control, persistence, and then because they need to adjust to other people, and then mayroong bylaws about organizations. So mayroong pong ways of how to interact and how to deal with grievances. So natutunan ng bata ang stress resistance, optimism, emotional control, and then next they were able to collaborate with other members. So they learn empathy, trying to understand other people, trust also, and cooperation. And then because they discuss projects, they discuss matters in clubs, open-mindedness develop, which eventually will lead to having students becoming curious, or with curiosity, they become tolerant and they become creative. And then eventually by engaging with other people, not just within the clubs, but also with other clubs, kasi magsasama-sama pa sila, especially like foundation days, yung mga programs sa pang-school program na lahat ng mga clubs ay magtutulong-tulong para magkaroon ng show. So they are able to engage with other people. So they are become highly sociable. They become assertive. And of course, the energy gets high. And once all of these tasks, all of this uh, social emotional skills are developed, eventually our students will have what we call as compound skills. That will be critical thinking skills, metacognitive skills, and then self-efficacy. So ganun po ka profound kung bakit profound ang development ng isang bata pag siya po ay meron pong siyang curricular program at saka co-curricular program na babalance ang development ng bata, nagkakaroon ng 5 development ng social-emotional skills or learnings. So let's now have a summary of our discussion for the second question. Social and emotional skills determine how well people adjust to their environment and how they achieve in their lives. So it's a key element for people to propel themselves for success. So it's not necessarily just academic achievement, but also their drive in life. And that drive in life to succeed is gained through the experiences, through the co-curricular programs, thereby developing their social and emotional skills. In that point po, mga kapatid, marami alam kong may mga kilala kayo na pag sila ay mga top 10 students, sila ay mga pero bakit sila ay they ended up being tricycle driver? Hindi ko pa binababa ang tricycle driver. Kaya lang po bakit siya nabagsak doon? Well, reasons like because of poverty. Pero I don't believe on reasons of poverty. Kung matalino ka talaga, gagawa ka ng paraan. Diba? Ako noon di naman kami kayamanan, pero I had to look for scholarships para matuloy-tuloy lang. Kailangan ko kausapin ng mga kapatid ko, kailangan ko lumapit sa mga professors ko noon para maging student assistant ako. Hindi lang kasi gusto ko talaga magkaroon ng maraming allowance. So free na kasi ang tuition ko noon, tapos meron pa akong allowance sa pagiging athlete, tapos syempre tapos may mga book allowance pa and so on and so forth. But the point there is that I wanted all of this so that I can focus more on my studies. Maparaan. Hindi ako katalinuhan pero maparaan ako. Okay? Also, co-curricular school programs allow students social skills and relationship building, which is key to lifelong learning, which we want our students to be able to do and acquire during or after the K-12 program. Students often participate in co-curricular activities with students in other grades, which helps to develop relationship skills and in many cases, lasting friendships. Diba? Ako po, I could understand this. Hanggang ngayon, I connect with my classmates nung members ng choir, members ng theater group, ng dance group namin, ng sports namin. Minsan nag-away-away, pero that's part of socialization skills. Let's now proceed to the third question, which is what are different types of campus clubs and organizations that should be available for our students? Okay, let's start with the academic clubs and organizations. So dapat daw the school should come up with student organization, academic organizations that see a clear mirroring of what they're learning from school. So kung meron po tayong Filipino 1 English, siguro school paper po yun. Ang school paper may Filipino 1 English para klaro po na lahat kanilang ginagawa dito merong application. Pero here's a question ulit. Para lang ba sa mga estudyante na merong journalism ang pagpunta sa campus journalism o dapat lahat ng bata matrain doon? I'm just saying. Okay? Next, cultural organizations. Yung mga dance troupe, folk dance troupe, ano ba ito mga... of course, yung mga choir kasama po din dyan sa cultural organizations. Okay? We have faith-based organizations. And we have honors achievement clubs. Kasama po namin dito yung mga debate group, na kung saan sino lang mga galing sa language group po namin sa social science, dalawang subject ng task, nasasali ka sa honors and achievement clubs. Nung college kami, meron kasi sa amin Dean's Listers Organization. Siyempre kasama pa rin ang lolo mo at that time. I didn't know why. Next, we have athletics and varsity clubs. Kasama po ako dyan. So lahat ng estudyante nun, ako estudyante po ay dapat merong athletics and varsity as access din. Not just for those who are excelling. Sige, pwede po sa athletics and varsity para sa mga excelling, pero dapat may sports program para sa mga estudyante din, all students. Then we have political and public service organizations like extension programs for our students. Like I really like NSTP for college because it's allows all students to experience doing extension services, helping communities. All right. Also political, like student organizations and leadership trainings for all students. I believe that all students should go through leadership training. Kami nun sa elementary nun, lahat kami ay lahat ng bawat section ng grade level nagkakaroon ng leadership training. From those who have been trained ng leadership training, makikita kung sino ang merong mabilis ang development ng leadership. Sila po ang aming ina-appoint na candidates para sa student organization. Hindi yung malakas lang ang loob ang mag-student organization, kilala, popularity, hindi. Na-miss ko tuloy ang aming Divine Word University was, anyway. So all of these types of student organizations and clubs help our students see the connection of what they're learning from the school, and at the same time they provide with the avenue for them to be able to actually and actualize what they are learning from the class to these clubs, and also be able to develop social emotional skills, because they will now be interacting with other students in the higher grade levels. Not just to mention again with different personalities they have to adjust to. Okay, it's frustrating, to be honest. Looking back, it was frustrating for me because there were some members then na nasa upper grade level pero medyo mahina nga naman na parang pati niya na-realize mas matanda naman siya dapat sa akin, na nasa higher grade level siya, dapat alam niya yun, and so on and so forth. Yung mga ganong sitwasyon. I think one of my limitations when I was growing up and being members of the student organization. Sorry again, I'm using my experience as a platform for our discussion, because again, this is a one way. All of you guys are out there just listening to me, and I cannot ask you and to participate. So my experience was, I think one of the limitations for me when I was in organizations like this is that I never had a chance to be a follower. So pagpapasok ko palagi, napapasok agad ako sa officers na ganon. So sometimes I think like, how does it feel to be a follower? So yun nga po, pag ini-invite ako as a speaker for student leadership, I would always tell them, kasi nga I said that for me to be able to become a good leader is that you experience to become a follower too. So nalalaman mo ang perspective nila. Kasi ako nun, dahil puro leader lang ang aking perspective nun, there was a tendency for me to just dictate what should be done. Dahil nga nasanay ako na palaging leader ako. But then eventually I tried my best to be just a follower. Especially when I became part of the Department of Education, napunta pa ako sa pagtuturo na kailangan kong sumunod, mag-submit myself to authority. That's when I realized na there's also wisdom in submitting myself to authority, because sometimes by following and by practicing obedience, we get to acquire the wisdom of the one leading us. Okay, and we become better persons. Okay, so therefore, to summarize our answer to question number 3, that was number 3, yeah. Number 3 would be, many schools have a large variety of campus clubs and organizations. Despite this, students should also be allowed to establish organizations that are not present on their campus if they desire. On that note, so hindi lang po dapat ang organizations natin sa school ay yung kung ano lang ino-offer ng school. Dapat ina-allow din ang school ang mga estudyante na magbuo ng silang organization. But I think that would not be for elementary. For high school, perhaps, pwede pa, but definitely for college. Hindi ko na-experience ang paggawa ng sariling club nung elementary kami at saka high school. Fixed po yun. Pero pagdating sa college, siguro dahil nga marami na akong organization na salihan, ang ginawa namin ay we created a different type of theater group. We created a different type of activist group. Nagkaroon kami ng activist. I became a member of the sabi ko ng organization in sa UP. But yung mga ganun ba na highly specialized. Okay? So nagkaroon kami ng social workers club, kung saan tumutulong kami sa lipunan and so on and so forth. The point there is that as our students get to be more sophisticated and as they grow independent, they will think of a highly specialized club, and that alone is already an indication that you have educated your students, that they're already thinking of highly specialized tasks and high specialized organizations for certain tasks that students should do to help the school and the society. That alone would say that your students already are creative and therefore you have educated your students for lifelong learning. Kung mga bata nyo, sumusunod pa rin lang sa organization. So I would say like, okay, they're average learners, they're doing, but are they thinking outside the box? If your students have reached that, I think the school has served its purpose. You will find that many schools have memberships that are represented by the following types of clubs and organizations. I believe that there is not one organizations in the school that would provide the holistic development of our students. So I believe that it should allow students to explore all clubs. May exploration muna din ang bata at pipili siya kung saan siya talaga mag-excel. Pero titingnan po dapat din ng advisor kung makakatulong ito sa development ng bata. Pero kung hindi na makakatulong sa development ng bata, dapat i-refer siya sa other clubs. That's why every student organization club should have advisors. And advising should not be based on just, whims and caprices of the advisor. There should be certain guidelines. Balikan po ninyo ang aking talk about student profiling. Dapat doon babasihan ng teacher yung acceptance not only for academics but also for non-academics and co-curricular activities ang profiling gagamitin din doon. Let's now have question number 4, second to the last question. Let's see if I still have enough time. Okay, it's just 3 o'clock. So we go back again. Sir, gaano karaming clubs ang sasalihan ng bata? Depende po kung saan lacking ang bata. Halimbawa, ang bata po ay lacking po siya ng social emotional development at physical development. Magaling siya sa language, magaling sa cognitive, meron siyang academic clubs membership. Baka gusto niyo siyang pasalihin sa sports. Baka gusto niyo pasalihin sila sa faith-based para sa magkaroon ng spirituality. So my point there is that titingnan natin kung anong area by profiling your students and then based on the results of the profile, ano pang kulang na domain ng bata, doon natin i-refer siya sa mga clubs that would help the child acquire what's lacking in their development. Hindi kung magaling na nga ang bata doon sa area na yun pa ang kanyang club, edi gumaling lang siya doon sa area na yun. So anong tawag doon? Development yun. Enhancement yun. You're just enhancing what they already have. When we say development, is that we're looking at all other domains that students need to also develop on. So kung magaling na siya sa language, nilagay mo siya sa school paper, okay, si fine. Let him be part or let her be part of the school paper. Pero dahil kulang siya sa physical development, siya, lampa, mataba nga naman ako noon. Kaya napunta ako sa athletics. Ay, hindi pala ako mataba. Medyo payat ako. Elementary pala ako mataba. Tapos napunta ako sa athletics, mamayat na. Tumaba ulit ngayon. Pupunta sa physical development. Papasalihin mo siya. Not just on the areas that they're strong at. Okay? Alam mo, batang ito, kailangan ng spiritual development. So, pasalihin mo siya ng mga other clubs. I think this is the responsibility of the advisor to refer students to certain clubs for the total development of students. Later on, I will suggest how it's done. So, yan pala. So, the coordination with the guidance counselor should profile individual student and diagnose which area he or she needs to improve on. Based on this profiling, the class advisor with endorsement of the guidance counselor shall recommend to the students and their parents, kailangan kasama po ang parents, membership to student interest clubs and organizations. Noong panahon kasi namin, dapat kung anong organizations na kasali mo sa high school namin nun, dapat meron ka din sa community. Pwede naman po kasi ngayon, kung wala pong existing po ang school, pwede pong i-recommend sa mga magulang na meron silang sumali ang bata sa community. Okay? May mga community organizations naman na pwede sumali doon. Like, I know that there in the community, meron pong, nung nasa Manila po ako sa Pandacan, meron pong book readers club ang Pandacan doon malapit sa Emilio Aguinaldo High School. Katabi nun, St. Joseph School, katabi nandun ang community library. So, doon ako palagi. So, nung college ako, hindi na ako sumali ng Student Readers Club. Sumali na ako ng Student Readers Club sa community namin kasi gusto ko, doon ako magkaroon ng membership para doon ako manghihiram ng libro. At kung anong hiram kong libro, kasi required kami, pag humiram kami ng, say, novel, Saturday, we're going to have a parang book sharing. Okay lang, kasi I have access to books. Okay? The point there is that, do we have programs? Kung walang programs ng school, Do we have connections, linkages with the community that would help our students choose from this community organizations as part of their co-curricular development? Finally, the last question. Yay! Nagsasaya na kayo dyan, ano? Kasi last question na. Okay, so for the last question, how can student interest be implemented in the new normal? Simple lang po. This is what we've been doing. Not we've been doing, we're trying to do right now. Okay? Right now. So, we explore online social platforms like Facebook. Kaya nga po magkaganda, sorry po, balik ko muna kasi explain ko lang po. Ang kagandahan po ngayon sa pandemic is that matutuwa po ang mga bata dahil yung mga pinagbabawal ng schools dati, paggamit ng cellphone, pag-chat-chat, pag-Facebook, selfie, paggawa groovy, may mga terms na yan, ano pa ba, mga OOTD, pag-post sa Instagram, sa Twitter, sa paggagawa ng mga vlogs sa YouTube, to be called YouTubers, saan pa ba? Sa mga podcasts, mga music, TED Talk. All of this are things that children right now, learners right now are into. They're engrossed into. So, mas madali po natin na ipasok ang co-curricular programs dahil ito na po talaga ang interes ng mga bata. Alright? So, we just maximize the use of the platforms like the Facebook, and then we have the Instagram. Sana po ang mga teachers, meron din po kayo yan para na-explore nyo rin. And then we have the Twitter, and we have the YouTube, we have Zoom for meetings. That's Google Meet pala. Google Meet. And this one, sorry, that's Google Meet. And this one is Zoom podcast. And of course, Google Drives or Google applications. Nandun po yung Google Drive, Google Docs, and so on and so forth. The point is that all of these platforms, itong binibigay ko po sa inyo, ito yung commonly used ng mga estudyante ngayon. Ito yung mga platforms. Although there are other platforms that we can explore too, but these are what's most common right now, and they're downloadable not just on your mayroon pong Viber din, pero kasi pwede nang gamitin ng Facebook, ang Google nga, meron din po silang mga chat rooms doon. But the point here is that we need to explore all of these online platforms or social media platforms so that we can allow our students to practice and continue on their co-curricular programs. In like manner, we're also using all of these platforms for their academic programs. Kaya maganda po kasi di ba sabi nga natin, ang academic programs o co-curricular programs at saka co-curricular programs, the co-curricular programs mirror what they are learning from the curricular programs. If our curricular programs are using all of the social online platforms, then madali na lang i-transition sa co-curricular activities. Yun naman po ang definition nun, ita-transfer lang. So kung ang mga bata ay pinapagawa po natin ng mga sa languages, pinapagawa po natin ng mga short stories o pinapagawa po natin ng mga slogans, they can post that on their shout-outs. It could be in the Twitter, in their Instagram, or in their Facebook. So pwede po nilang i-gamitin instead of at least na ma-modify mo ngayon into more educational use ang mga online platforms. So hindi yung OOTD, kung anong kinakain, pipicture muna, and so on and so forth. So what's happening right now with the pandemic is that we're able to modify our students' use of these platforms and make it more educational than recreational. So we are now striking balance between recreation and educational use of all of these platforms. Hindi na natin kalaban kung hindi kasama na natin sa education ng ating mga estudyante. So what we can do is perhaps choose a platform as the backbone of all our social organizations. I would say create muna kayo ng inyong school organizations, interest clubs, Facebook page. Okay? Kung saan doon nakalink lahat ang mga student organizations. Siguro we could say that the student supreme organization or officers will be the one managing the backbone, like the Facebook page. Okay? Tapos, we will be using some like Google applications, documents, mga survey. So they can do survey via posting those survey forms that they create from the Google Docs. Pwede po yun. So instead na magtatawag sila, pwede lang i-post sa mga survey programs na, remember, di ba pag bago sila gumawa ng mga programs, dapat meron silang survey as basis of the need of the program for the student. So pwede na gamitin ang Google applications para po maggawa ng survey to communicate like emails, official Google emails, to communicate to the different officers of the different student interest clubs. Pero dapat may backbone nga. Okay? We can also ask our students to have their Instagram, yung kanilang mga activities, post their activities, accomplished ones on their Instagram para po may susundan po. Pero pwede po rin yan i-link sa Facebook. Diba? Kasi the Instagram post can also be linked to the Facebook. Also, podcasts. They can have their own like programs for the clubs, ang mga trainings po, reminders via the podcast or music, short discussions, para mga radio programs for each of the for each of the student interest clubs. Tapos, ililink pa rin sa Facebook. So, isa lang yun sa mga application na pwedeng gamitin ng mga student clubs, pero ipopost pa rin nila doon sa kanilang backbone na Facebook group for the student organizations. Pero nakalagay po doon kung saan sila magpo-post. Next, they can also create their own blogs or YouTube channels na educational din. Like halimbawa, sa sports po, pwedeng gawin nila ay mga home exercises and stretches for conditioning. So pwedeng ilagay nila doon tapos ililink sa Facebook para yung all other members of the studentry can follow. Pwede maglagay ng Zumba para susunod po nila. So program po ng sports club. So pwede maglagay ng Zumba every Friday tapos ililink sa Facebook tapos sa Friday maglalabas po. So even announcements can be placed into Facebook ng mga estudyante po natin. Also Twitter can be linked to the Facebook. So doon po, kunwari na every member has their own Twitter account to promote their programs. And promote their individual advocacies. So pwede po din sa Facebook. Also, we have the Zoom, so they can have their meetings via Zoom, and it can also be linked towards the Facebook. The point there is that these online social applications are unlimited in its potential for the use, not just for curricular programs, but also for co-curricular programs, if you could just explore it. In fact, hindi mo na, especially for the high school students, hindi nga lang kahit nga sa mga grades 4, 5, 6 intermediate class, they already know how to do this. Some of them already have YouTube. Some of them already have Twitter accounts. So kung dati pinagbabawal po natin, this time matutuwa sila dahil pwede lang gamitin. But mas maganda po dahil nagiging educational po ang platform na ito. Alright? So, syempre, kailangan po natin lagyan ng guidelines. All of this should have with guidelines. If our bylaws before were on face-to-face interaction, school activities is situated within the school premises, dapat pong school gagawa din po ng bylaws on online school organizations and student interest clubs. If you may want to explore some universities in abroad like Stanford University, Columbia University, they have online clubs and you may want to explore how they do it. Okay? Gusto ko man sana mag-screenshot pero I asked permission pero hindi daw pwede. So wala akong permission. So I cannot, I was not able to get a screenshot of their Facebook group or kanilang website for the student organizations because I was not given permission. So pasok po yan sa copyright. Since hindi na ako binigyan ng permission, I cannot. So I'm saying you, meron pong ganon na mga online clubs na ginagawa nila. Ang school paper po nga po nila, nagagawa po nila sa Google po, tapos pinopost po nila sa Google Drive po, tapos ang editing via Google Docs, tapos pag na-aprobahan na po ng advisor, ipinapublish po sa Facebook group ng student organizations and clubs. All right. So, to summarize our question on the last question, the fifth question, schools must also allot schedules for co-curricular activities to allow students to reap the benefits of joining student interest clubs and organizations. I already explained to you the benefits of having co-curricular activities on the development, not just on the academic side of our students, but also their social, emotional development and their self-identity and well-being as a total person. and then we have I'm sorry, and via this online platforms, our students are always safe, are still safe at home, and they are now having a balance between schooling and education while learning at home. Safe siya sa bahay, pero sana meron pong programs. Ang ginagawa kasi natin ngayon ay academic programs. So I think ang susunod na dapat gawin ng mga schools ngayon ay wag nang ibigay sa mga teachers. Maggawa po, ang school dapat mag-identify sino ang mga advisors at sila po ang gagawa ng mga platforms na to, of course with the help of the guidance counselor, and of course with the officers of the existing clubs of the school. Definitely may existing clubs naman kayo ngayon. All you have to do is migrate their face-to-face, their physical structure sa school to the online platforms. So transferring lang po naman yun. And then all you have to do, as I've said, choose a platform, a backbone. Para yun po talaga yung backbone na platform. All others will be just links to the backbone platform. All right. So if you don't have any questions, So if you have questions, I think this is time for us to answer questions and clarify vague concepts. So Jillian, do you have questions? Got it, 2:23 already.
Thank you very much, brother. Let's now proceed to the question and answer portion. Our first question is from Chrysler Jan Linehan. What if the learners or students are not involved in academic or engaging school club or organizations? What is or are the best techniques to develop his or her social and emotional skills?
Mm, all right. So kung ang mga bata po ay hindi engaged sa curricular, hindi pwedeng hindi sila engaged sa curricular kasi dapat nilang ma-meet nga. Yun po ang pinag-ibahan sa co-curricular at curricular. Sa curricular kasi, they have no choice but to fulfill the required learning outcomes and tasks because it's curricular. They will be graded. While for the co-curricular activities, they will be just evaluated as how effective, how collaborative they were in their performance, in the activities for the clubs. They will be reprimanded, but it will not affect their academic performance or achievement in another way, especially with the new grading system, the K-12 program. But say hindi po sila active in school po, hindi nakapagbigay ng co-curricular program as a support student program to the students while they are learning at home. Ang pwede niyo pong gawin ay to talk to the parents. Do orientation program that these are some of the home activities that you can provide to your students to develop social emotional development among your students at home because hindi nga sila kasama sa co-curricular program. One would be self-identity is very important. It's one of the most important things that they need to develop among themselves. Also would be discipline would be that as well. So kung hindi po active at hindi talaga sumali at hindi pinayagan na magulang din na sumali sa mga online organizations, school organizations or student organizations sa school ninyo, then ang ibig sabihin po nun, inaangkin ng mga magulang. Ang ibig sabihin po nun, inaangkin ng mga magulang ang responsibilidad ng social emotional development ng kanilang mga anak. Ganun lang po. Tinatanggal ang responsibilidad na yun sa inyong school as a teacher na yon at ang mga magulang ang maapo. Pero dapat sasabihin sa mga magulang na yon na ganun po ang mangyayari. Nung pag hindi nyo po in-encourage po kasi these co-curricular programs po are actually to help your students develop not just their academic prowess or skills and knowledge, but also their social emotional development and all other domain developments that they need to take on. So kung ayaw nyo po, pwede po kayong magawa ng mga sarili nyong programa sa bahay nyo. Halimbawa, binibigyan nyo po sila ng task na sila maghuhugas ng ganito, sila maglilinis ng ganito, sila mamalengke o sila magluluto. So by giving them tasks at home, chores at home, would also develop in a way their social emotional skills and their identity and their discipline and all other social emotional skills by parent supervision activities at home. Kung ayaw nilang magpasali. Yun po talaga ang mangyayari kung ayun lang po talaga ang way na matulungan ang mga bata. Pero kung ayaw ng mga magulang pasali sa student programs sa online programs ng school, tapos hindi rin binigyan sa bahay, tas kayong sinisi, o di dapat merong mga ganyan po na sinisisi pa rin ng mga magulang lahat sa mga schools at teachers. Para sa akin po kasi, kaya nga kasama sa orientation, ang pagsusulat, meron kayong kontrata. It's what we call as the parent and school agreement. Na ito po, dahil ayaw nyo pong sumasali mga, so you are relinquishing from us the responsibility of helping your children develop their co-curricular activities and their social emotional development. Magkaroon po kayo ng kasulatan kasi especially for the private schools. Sa public school, I'm sorry pero siguro parang hindi naman talaga, ako po ay public school graduate ng high school. So talagang magandang programa na pinagdaanan ko. Probably because I was in the lab school on the what we call as the research and development sections ng Leyte National High School. Talagang maganda programa. Well balanced. Pero paano yung mga public school na ang tingin lang sa education ay schooling? Academics lang. So marami talaga mga estudyante na they will finish their schools but will not have the motivation to succeed in life. All right, thank you very much. That will be my honest answer to you.
Thank you, brother. Our next question is from Analon Domaliza. Sir, can you sipon na much better kung may new accounts created ang bata at teachers para meron pa ring privacy and madali matrack ang students' crafts and activities?
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I'm trying to say na yung pagpili nyo po ng platforms na po yun ay hindi ibig sabihin yung existing nilang individual private. So make sure that the private, the personal accounts, online accounts ng mga bata remain their personal. Okay? Remember, we have what we call as data privacy law. So hindi dapat natin ginagamit yun. So dapat kung gagawa po tayo ng online platforms for our student support programs, for co-curricular development of our students on student interests and student organizations, mas maganda po talaga na talagang new account or account created by the advisor or by the school and with the officers. Tapos sila po ang magmamanage ng accounts na yon. Hindi yung mga personal, i-link yung personal account sa mga bata doon. Mawawala na po yun ng privacy. So that was breach of the privacy of right to privacy ng inyong mga estudyante. So tama po kayo, dapat po talaga new account po yun for privacy purposes na hindi po dapat yun. Yung sinasabi ko ng Facebook po, dapat po yung private po, ipa-private niyo po na hindi makikita ng iba because you need to protect your students too kasi may mga bata na nagbabash, especially yung outside your schools, na may mga nag-stock ang mga yun nagtutroll. So kailangan nyo talagang private lahat ng accounts nyo para ang nakakakita lang po ay yung mga members ng clubs na yun at saka yung advisor. At saka of course, kasama dapat ang guidance counselor na as one of the administrators para kasi responsibilidad po ng guidance counselor to monitor also the the things happening in all the organizations, student organizations and clubs and interest clubs of the school, be it online or within the school structure. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Our last question is from Ning B. San Miguel. What are some tips on how we can make our co-curricular and extracurricular activities more appealing and interesting to the students?
Okay. Mas maganda po yung yung sa mga bata pag meron kang parang games. May pag-games ka kasi kids right now love online games. So if you could have like kung ito po ay acting, you can have kung ito ay theater group. So para ma-interest po sila, pwede ka magkaroon ng meron pong application na may mga theatrical group to guessing the facial expressions para interesting po siya sa mga bata para mainggan yung pumasok. So you can start with games. You can start with trivia, posting trivia na using also the level of the language of the students and posting it tapos ililink mo sa kanila, ilalagay sa kanila sa invitation, makakaganda po yun. Ang ginagawa po namin sa amin ay we have posters. We use the psychology of colors. Please research on psychology of colors na mas nakakakuha po ng interest at attention ng mga bata ang 3 high frequency colors. That's ROY, that's red, orange, and yellow. If our posters and our announcements or mga banners, online banners, have all of these colors, plus yung mga fonts po ay mga kinky, may mga icons, interactive siya, may nakiklik, students get to be interested on it. So you may want to explore that. As much as I would like to mention an application sana on that, kaya lang I'll be promoting and marketing the application, and I don't want to do that kasi meron po kami sa VIBAL na mga applications on it. So you can also use some of the applications we have on VIBAL, yung aming pong VIBAL suite. Marami po kaming mga pwedeng gamitin po doon, which will also support the co-curricular programs of the students. But if not po, again, sinasabi ko is make it more interactive, have games. Yung kids love clicking, tapos they are redirected to another link. Kids love that, students love that. And then make it more interactive na merong moving pictures po, wag po yung still pictures lang. That's why yung mga PowerPoint presentations ko po, naglalagay po ako ng mga GIF para po medyo hindi lang boring. Nakikita din nila yung text, nakikita din nila yung mga movements. It becomes more interesting to the students. And also, please, as I've said, explore the psychology of colors. Again, research showed that it's easy to catch the attention and interest of your students, be in any material that you're using, if you consider the design of your materials using the high frequency colors, the ROY, the red, orange, and yellow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. That's all the questions we have for now. Any last reminders po for our viewers for today?
Of course, definitely. I always have reminders. And well, for the conclusions first, let's have the following statements. If you could read it to me together. Attending school should bring many new aspects and transition in a student's life, including a new level of independence and responsibility. Students find socialization tasks easier to embark upon through joining clubs and organizations that fit their individual interests, needs, and goals. Bakit po? Because in classes, teachers cannot individually address the specific needs of students. Unlike ang mga bata na to sumali sa organizations, ang mga advisor ng organizations na to can identify the individual needs and meet the needs, individual needs of our students at interest pa ng bata. Talagang specific. So magtutulungan po ngayon ang advisor, class advisor, at saka club advisor. Kaya lang po, minsan kawawa naman ang teacher, siya na ang club advisor, siya pa ang class advisor. Eh di patayin nyo na lang si teacher. Sana iba ang class advisor sa club advisor. Kasi ang class advisor nyo, may homeroom pa yan. Okay, so huwag nyo nang bigyan ng other non-academic or co-curricular responsibilities. Also, I would like to mention that a social media network advance in education systems, like for online learning and online teaching, many helpful and beneficial tools will emerge that can make learning more enriching experience. So students today are intimately involved with social media every stage. They know one way or the other, kahit pa ng mga bata ay nasa duklok ng mundo, one way or the other, they have idea of social media, be it the radio, be it television, cell phones, what else? Well, radio perhaps, okay? Or the idea of electricity, okay? If they have that idea. If you are missing onto the usage of social media, you are pushing away a lot of potential audience, meaning the world and the society is moving towards highly online platforms, highly technology-based platforms. And we want our students, one way or the other, not necessarily have to be at all levels, but one way or the other, we need to introduce this social media to our students. And it could be now, it could be tomorrow, it could be basta ma-introduce ko sa kanila yan. Okay, it could be in the academics, it could be in the co-curricular programs, basta ma-introduce ko sa mga bata. Using it in educational institutions can prove to be a very effective measure. Well, it only takes a lot of responsibilities on the teacher because it takes a lot of planning for the teachers. I do agree on that, but it's the easiest and more appealing to your students. Sometimes the most difficult task would be the most difficult task for teachers are the most effective for our students. Why? Because we plan out, pinaghihirapan po ng teacher para pag na-present sa mga bata, pinaghirapan ng teacher para pag-present sa mga bata, interesting sa kanila. Right? Also, the benefits of social media for curricular and co-curricular programs are positively tremendous. Social media sites offer great opportunities for communication between peers and teachers. So hindi na kailangan, dito kasi nagkakaroon ng, sa social media, nagkakaroon ng feeling ng intimacy ang bata. Well, I'm not saying that romantically. na feeling ng bata na namimit ng teacher ang kanyang personal needs. And like in co-curricular activities, dahil nagchat-chat sila, sinasagot ng teacher, sa chatting mayroong reply to the comment of the teacher, the student. So nasasagot ni teacher ang mga queries ng mga bata. Especially for the clubs, the students feel like ito po yung some of the comments ng mga estudyante namin na members ng club. Sabi niya, mas nainganyo nga po kung magstay at mag-continue sa klase dahil sa clubs, feeling ko kasi parang I belong to a group. I belong to a group in the school. Yung mga bata kasi na walang parang family-like feeling in the members of the school, yun talaga ang nag-struggle. Parang struggle sila kanilang pumasok araw-araw o kaya mag-online o mag-aral araw-araw. Also, using social media, teachers improve the involvement of their students in studies and education, improve technological ability, provide a great sense of collaboration, and build good communication skills with students. Because whether you like it or not, because of chatting, because of talking, wala sila sa face-to-face, they are forced to write, to encode, and communicate and adjust to the communication level of their members. Kaya maganda po, positive po ang mga resulta ng online actually. Only that there are limitations because there are some students who do not have access to online. But again, eventually, they will be introduced to it. So hindi pwedeng they will remain unintroduced to social media. All right. On that note, I would like to say thank you everyone for staying in. And I know that those who stayed with my session believe the holistic development of our students is not only on curricular programs that they need to embark on, but also to be engaged in student organizations, interest clubs. On that note, I would like to invite you to my session tomorrow morning on around 10 o'clock. I will be talking about home activities to develop the communication skills of our students. Ito po yung sagot ang tanong kanina ni Ma'am kanina na, sir, paano kung hindi sumali ang mga bata sa student? Kailangan nila ma-develop ang kanilang confidence, ma-develop ang kanilang presentation, or all other skills. Anong gagawin nila? So tomorrow morning, I'll be sharing to you what are those home activities that you can suggest to families to do in order to develop, to help their children develop their communication skills, thereby developing self-confidence and self-identity among their children. And then in the afternoon, I'll be talking about another online platform for student organizations. So thank you very much and hope to see you tomorrow morning.
There we have it. In behalf of VIBAL Group Incorporated, I would like to thank our speaker for today for this very eye-opening and insightful learning session. It is an honor to have you with us today, brother. And to all our Kavibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. Don't forget to register to get your e-certificate of participation. We also encourage you to subscribe and watch on our official Vibal Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli, maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat.